Good afternoon, everyone. So now let us start the topic Mendelian disorders. As I told you earlier, genetic disorders are of two types: Mendelian disorder and chromosomal disorder. In Mendelian disorder, there is a change in a single gene. Okay, when there is a change in a single gene, that it results in the disorder which is known as Mendelian disorder. And if there is a change in the number of the chromosomes or in the arrangement of the chromosomes, then it is known as chromosomal disorder. Okay, chromosomal disorder we have done. Now we shall study about the Mendelian disorder, that is genetic disorders that are caused due to change in a single gene. Now, the Mendelian disorders, as you know, they could be autosomal or they could be sex linked. In autosomal, again, they could be autosomal dominant or autosomal recessive. And in sex linked, they could be sex linked dominant or sex linked recessive. Now, if I talk about the examples of Mendelian disorder, so first example is phenylketonuria. Basically, this is a Mendelian disorder in which basically this is autosomal recessive disorder. Okay, this is autosomal recessive disorder. Now basically what happens in this condition in the normal human being? Basically there is present an enzyme which is known as phenylalanine hydroxylase. Okay, in normal human being there is present an enzyme known as phenylalanine hydroxylase. Now what happens in this disorder? As you know, this enzyme is proteinaceous in nature and it will be coded by a particular gene. So what happens sometimes, the gene that codes for this enzyme, the gene that codes for phenylalanine hydroxylase, there is a mutation in that gene, there is a change in that gene, and due to that what will happen? In the resultant offspring, this enzyme will not be synthesized properly. Am I clear? There is a gene. This gene is responsible for the synthesis of a protein that is making this enzyme. Now suppose there is a mutation in this gene. Now if there will be mutation in this gene, then what will happen? Directly the synthesis of phenylalanine hydroxylase will be affected. Now I can say the function of this enzyme will be affected. Basically, this enzyme is responsible for the conversion of phenylalanine into tyrosine. This enzyme, it is performing one function in our body. It converts phenylalanine. Phenylalanine is an amino acid. It converts phenylalanine into tyrosine. Tyrosine is again another amino acid. So what happens in this disorder, the persons who are suffering from phenylketonuria, in them, as this enzyme is absent, so the conversion of phenylalanine into tyrosine is not possible. So what will happen? This amino acid is not being converted into this amino acid. Clear? Now as a result, what will happen? Phenylalanine, it will keep on accumulating in the body of that affected person. Clear? Now, this phenylalanine, accumulation of this phenylalanine result in the damage to the brain. So basically there will be mental retardation. This is what is actually happening in phenylketonuria. In phenylketonuria, there is a mutation in a gene that is responsible for the synthesis of phenylalanine hydroxylase. This enzyme converts the phenylalanine into tyrosine. So if there is a mutation in this gene, then the conversion of the phenylalanine into tyrosine wouldn't be possible, and as a result, this phenylalanine will keep on accumulating in the cells of that affected person, and as a result, the person will be mentally retarded. Am I clear? This is first example of Mendelian disorder. Now, let us talk about the second example of Mendelian disorder, and that is hemophilia. First of all, what is hemophilia, what is its cause, and what are the symptoms? Clear? Hemophilia, it is basically a genetic disorder. It is X-linked recessive disorder. X-linked recessive disorder. So basically what happens in this actually, as you know, our blood, it can clot the blood. If there is any injury, then at that particular site, our blood, it is having the power to clot that blood so that excessive bleeding will not be there. Now what happens actually, there is one protein. No doubt so many proteins are involved in the process of clotting of blood. But there is one protein, okay, that is synthesized by a gene. Now, there is a gene. This gene is present on the X chromosome. Okay, that's why it is X-linked disorder. This gene is present on the X chromosome, and this gene is responsible for the synthesis of a protein which is playing an important role in blood clotting. Now what happens in hemophilia? There is a mutation in this gene. Now this gene will got mutated. Now, as you can understand, if there will be a mutation in this gene, then what will happen? This protein will not be formed. As a result, the blood clotting mechanism will stop. Am I clear? So basically what is happening in hemophilia, there is a gene which is present on the X chromosome. That gene is getting mutated. Due to that, the protein that is being synthesized by that gene is affected, and that gene is responsible for the clotting of the blood. That protein is playing an important role in the clotting of the blood. So as a result, the clotting of blood would be affected. So this is what is happening in the hemophilic person. A person who is suffering from hemophilia, if he or she might got a cut or any kind of injury, then what will happen? There could be excessive blood loss, which could even lead to the death of the person, as blood clotting mechanism is not properly stable in them. Am I clear? Now if I talk about the cause, like I told you, there is a mutation in a gene that is responsible for the synthesis of a protein that is responsible for the clotting of blood. Now let me make a cross. One thing, as I told you, hemophilia is X-linked recessive disorder, and X-linked recessive disorders, they are quite common in male. They are not common, or rather I can say they are rare in case of female, but they are common in case of male. Generally the female, they are carrier. We are having the three conditions. Suppose in the normal female we are having this condition. This is normal female. Okay, and if I talk about the male, this is the normal male, XY. Now if this condition is there, H, let me say for the gene that is responsible for causing hemophilia. Okay, H. So as you know, it is autosomal disorder. So if both small h are there like this, then this will be affected female. That I told you, rare condition is there. If by chance this condition arises, a girl is born with this type of genotype, then that condition is fatal. The girl will die immediately only. That girl will not survive till childhood even. Now, second condition, it could be there XH and X. Means once X chromosome is normal, second is having this problem. So this will be carrier female. Carrier female means it will not be hemophilic. This female will be able to synthesize the protein that is responsible for clotting the blood. But this carrier female is having a chance that it can transmit the disease to the offspring. I'll make a cross for this. Okay, so these are the different possibilities. And in male, as I told you, only one X is there. So if this X is mutated, then it will be affected male. Clear? So in case of male, the chances of being hemophilic is more. Now let me make a cross. I am having suppose a carrier female and a normal male. Carrier female will look normally from the outside. Even sometimes the carrier female, she is not at all aware that she is carrier genotypically. Okay. Suppose here I am having the carrier female and here I am having the normal male. If both of them will marry, this carrier female generally she is even not aware of the disease, that she is the carrier of the disease, as she is not having the symptoms, and the male is normal only. Now just see what could be the genotype and what could be the possibility of the disease in their children. Carrier female, it will be XHX. Normal male, it will be XY. Now you know, firstly there will be formation of gametes XX and X, and here X and Y. Now let me make the offspring. It could be XHX. That is carrier female. XHY. The male would be affected. This male will be having hemophilia. That's what I told you. The chances of getting hemophilia in the male, it is more. Here the affected male is being born. Now let me make the different cross. XX. This female will be normal. She will not be carrier even. And this male XY, it will also be normal. So as you can see, out of these four, only one affected child is produced, that is male. The female is there but she is carrier. She can transfer the disease to the next generation, but she is not having the disease. Clear? So that's what I told you. In X-linked recessive disorder, the chances of transmission of the disease to the female, it is rare, and the chances of the transmission of the disease to the male partner is quite more. Clear? Now let us talk about the third disorder. Okay, now let us talk about the third example of Mendelian disorder, that is sickle cell anemia. Now basically what happens in sickle cell anemia, normally if you see the shape of the RBC, that is red blood cell, it is biconcave. But in this disorder, the RBC becomes sickle shaped like this. Okay. Now their power of transporting the oxygen reduces. They can even block the blood vessels. Now here comes the question, what is the reason of the change in the shape of RBC? Basically, if I talk about our hemoglobin, it is proteinaceous in nature, it is made up of polypeptide chain. Clear? So basically, if I talk about the structure of hemoglobin, then in the hemoglobin we are having alpha chain and beta chain. Now what happens in the beta chain in sickle cell anemia? Suppose I am drawing the beta polypeptide chain. As it is a polypeptide chain, so it will be made up of amino acids. Suppose here I am having first amino acid, second amino acid, third amino acid, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Suppose I have drawn 7 amino acids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in the normal beta chain of the hemoglobin at the 6th place, glutamic acid is present. This is normal polypeptide chain of the beta chain of the hemoglobin. But what happens in sickle cell anemia? At the 6th position, this glutamic acid amino acid, it is being replaced by valine. Now this condition is there. First amino acid is same, second is same, third is same, fourth is same, fifth. But now here at 6th position, instead of the glutamic acid, we are having valine. So basically, due to the substitution of glutamic acid by the valine, there results sickle cell anemia. Now here comes the question, why is the glutamic acid being replaced by valine? So basically, we are having a pair of allele that codes for this amino acid. As you know, codon will code for the amino acid. So basically, these are the allele HbA and HbS. These two alleles are there. They code for the amino acids which are present in the hemoglobin. Now, three genotypes are possible if you see HbA, HbA. As you know, we are diploid. Second type of genotype that is possible HbA, HbS. And third type of genotype that is possible is HbS, HbS. This HbA is normal. So the person will be normal. The shape of the RBC will be normal, it will be biconcave. Now this HbA, HbS will act as carrier. It will not be having the disease, but it is having the capability to pass the disease to the future generation. And this HbS, HbS will be the affected person. In this person, we can see the shape of the RBC will get changed to sickle cell. Now actually what happens in sickle cell anemia, as I told you, there is substitution of glutamic acid by the valine. So basically, as we know from the DNA, basically the mechanism we are going to study in chapter number 6. From the DNA, mRNA is formed. And from the mRNA, proteins are formed. Clear? So basically, in the codon, if there is a substitution, if GAG is being replaced by GUG, in the normal person GAG is present, and you know 3 will code for one amino acid. So at 6th place in the codon, GAG is present. So at the 6th place in the beta globin chain of the hemoglobin, GAG will code for glutamic acid. But now what happens due to mutation? This A is replaced by U. So it becomes GUG. So basically GAG is being replaced by GUG. Now GUG, it is a codon for valine. It can't code for glutamic acid, rather it will code for valine. So what will happen? At the 6th place, now instead of glutamic acid, there will be presence of valine, and due to this valine, the oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin will get reduced. It will undergo polymerization, and which results in the formation of sickle cell structure. Am I clear? Okay, now let us talk about the pedigree, X-linked pedigree. Okay, as you know, in the X-linked pedigree, again we are having X-linked dominant and X-linked recessive. Suppose I am having a pedigree. I have to write the genotype of the individuals. Firstly, I have to understand whether this pedigree is dominant one or recessive one. Clear? Now just see how will we determine this, whether this pedigree is dominant or recessive. Just see here. Dominant one will never skip the generation. Or I can say, if the affected individual will be having the affected parents, then the pedigree would be dominant. Otherwise it will be recessive. If I see in this pedigree, in the parents the trait is present, but in the first generation the trait is not present, and again the trait is present in the F2 generation. So obviously this is an example of recessive pedigree. It can't be dominant because dominant one never skips the generation. Here in the F1 generation the trait is not present. No one is affected. Clear? Or I can look it as an alternative way. In dominant one, actually what is happening, the affected one will be having affected parents. If I talk about this male, this is affected. Now let us talk about his parents. His mother, his father, both of them are not affected. Affected person, affected baby is not having the affected parents. It means it is recessive. Am I clear? You can just think in two ways. Dominant one never skips the generation. Here, the F1 generation is being missed. So this is recessive. Or in the second way, we can think the affected child will surely be having the affected parents in the dominant one. Here you can see the affected child is not having the affected parents. So it can't be dominant. It is recessive. So now I am sure this is a recessive pedigree. Now I have to see whether it is X-linked or autosomal. Clear? Now, there is one rule that even I told you in case of hemophilia also, X-linked recessive disorder is quite common in case of male. The transmission of the X-linked recessive disorder to the female is quite rare. Now if you will see this pedigree, only males are affected. Here is the male who is affected, here is the male who is affected. The females are not affected at all. So from there I can have an assumption that yes, this is an example of sex-linked, basically X-linked, because I have given you the example of X-linked. So this is X-linked recessive pedigree. Am I clear? Now I have to write the genotype. In recessive, as you know, when the homozygous recessive alleles will be present, that is small a condition will be there, it will be affected. But if capital A will be there, it will not be affected. Capital A, small a will be there, it will again not be affected. But now it is X-linked. Means we have to write these alleles, these genes, they are present on the X chromosome. So I will not write AA. I will write X small a unaffected. Sorry, it is recessive now, so XA will be affected. Am I clear? Let me write it again. XA, X small a, it will be affected female. Now we have to mention male and female as this is sex-linked disorder. XX means female. Second probability is there, X capital A, X small a. As even a single capital A is there, then the female will not be affected. As this is recessive disorder, the trait will be present only when there will be homozygous recessive alleles will be present. So as you can see, capital A is there, which is the dominant one. So the female will be unaffected. But yes, it will be a carrier. It can transfer the disease to the baby, but she is not carrying the disease. She is not having the disease. She can act as a carrier. Now next I am having XA, capital A, capital A. This will be unaffected female. Am I clear? Now if I talk about the males are having XY genotype. XY means normal. X small a y will be normal male. And if the male, it will be affected male. As we are talking about the recessive trait, small a is there, so it will be affected male. And if X capital A Y is there, it will be unaffected male. Now let me talk about the genotype. Let me talk about the affected male first. Out of these two, just see. Affected male will be having X small a y genotype. So X small a y. As you know, we are talking about the X-linked disorder, so Y will be normal only. And if the male is having the disease, then it must be having the recessive allele, that is small a, as we are talking about the recessive disorder. Clear? Now, let me talk about the genotype of the offspring so that I can talk about the genotype of this female. Now, this female will be having one allele from the father and one will be from the mother. Suppose from the father she is having XA, because obviously she can't have Y. In a girl, Y is not there. So from the father she'll gain the X small a. Am I clear? Now just think, this is unaffected. So she can't be having X small a small a. This is not possible. Because if this condition is there, then she will be affected. So what condition is present? X capital A and X small a. So I can say this capital A is coming from whom? From the mother, obviously. X capital A. Now here comes the mother will be having X small a or capital A. Now let us talk about the second side. This is male. Now male will be having Y chromosome and Y chromosome will be received directly from the father. So father is giving Y. Now tell me, the male is affected or unaffected? Your answer will be unaffected. So it means it is having X capital A. Because if the male would be having X small a Y, then the male would be affected. And here the male is not affected. So it is X capital A Y. Clear? As Y is being given by the father, so X capital A will be given by the mother. So here this is the condition. Am I clear? Now let me talk about this. Again the male is affected, so the genotype will be X small a Y. Clear? X small a, as you know, will be given by this and Y will be given by the father. So now the father can be X capital A Y or X small a Y. Now tell me, is this second condition possible? No, because if small a is there, then the father would be having disease. Now the father is not having the disease. So the father is having the genotype X capital A Y. Now let me talk about the offspring. This you can make easily. X capital A Y. As the male is not affected, so it will not be having the small a. Female is again not affected. X capital A, X capital A, or it could be X capital A, X small a. It could be X capital A, X capital A, or X capital A, X small a. In both the conditions, you will find that the female will be asymptomatic. She will be carrier, but she is not having the affection. Okay, so basically it could be both out of these two. Similarly here, it could be X capital A or X capital A small a. So this is an example of X-linked recessive pedigree. Am I clear? So now, here I am having one more pedigree. Now let us see whether it is sex-linked, autosomal or sex-linked recessive or autosomal dominant or autosomal recessive. First of all, we have to find out whether it is dominant or recessive. Now you know how to find the dominant one and how to find the recessive one. If the trait is not missing any generation, or I can say if the affected individual is having the affected parent, then the trait will be dominant. Now just see, the trait is present in the parents, the trait is present in the first generation, the trait is present in the second generation. So as the trait is not missing any generation, so this is dominant. Or I can go by the second method, just see the affected individuals. This affected individual is having the affected parent. 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 If 100% of the affected individuals, they are having the affected parent, then it is an example of a dominant trait. So for sure this is dominant trait. Now I have to see whether it is autosomal dominant or sex-linked dominant. Then for this sex-linked dominant, we are having a rule from the father. If all the daughters are affected, then the trait is X-linked dominant for sure. If the father is affected and as a result all the daughters are affected, the sons will not be affected, all the daughters will be affected, then the trait will be X-linked. Now just see here. Here the father is not affected, so I can't apply this rule. But here if I see, the female is normal, the mother is normal, but the father is affected. And just see the generation. All the daughters are affected. There is no effect on the son. But all the daughters are affected. So this is a rule that in the X-linked dominant trait, if the father is affected, then all the daughters can be affected. So from there I can say this is an example of X-linked dominant trait. Now, in dominant, as you have done in autosomal, if capital A condition is there, the person is affected. If capital A, small a condition is there, then again the person is affected. And if small a condition is there, then the person is not affected. Now let us apply here. As this is X-linked, so I write it like this. X, capital A, affected, female. Clear? X, capital A, X, small a, affected, female. X, small a, normal, female. Clear? Now if I talk about the male, X, Y condition is there. If X is having capital A allele, X, capital A, Y, then it will be affected male. And if X, capital, we are having small a, Y, then it will be unaffected male. Now let us find out the genotype of the individuals. As you can see here, the male is unaffected, so surely it will be X, small a, Y. Here again X, small a, Y. Here again X, small a, Y. X, small a, Y. Now, if the female is affected, now just see here. See here also I can write the female is unaffected. It will again be unaffected normal female X, small a, small a. So the female will be X, small a, small a. Now let us talk about the genotype of the affected person. Let me see here. The male is X, small a, Y. Out of these two, the Y will be received from the male. Obviously the female cannot give Y. One allele is being received from the male and second is from the female. So male is giving Y. Now the female will give X, small a. So here I can say the female is surely having the X, small a. Now the second allele will be X, capital A. It can't be small a, because if it would be small a, the female wouldn't have been affected, and in this case the female is affected. So this is the condition X, capital A and X, small a. Now let us talk about the genotype of the rest. Male X, capital A, Y. In male two conditions are there, affected X, capital A, Y and unaffected X, small a, Y. Now female, just see. It is affected, so we can have two possibilities, X, capital A or X, capital A, small a. Now let us see which is possible. Let me erase this. Now, father always will give small a, always. So one small a must be there. So this condition, capital A can't be here. So this female is having the genotype X, capital A and X, small a. Clear? Now let us talk about this. thing we can check. Suppose here is the offspring. Obviously, the father will give Y. Now I don't know. Actually, I know basically this father is affected, and affected male is having X capital A Y. Now let us talk about the girls. They are affected, so they could be having X capital A, or X capital A small a. Now let us see which is possible. X capital A. Capital A can be given by the father, but second capital A it can't be given by the mother. Mother can always give X capital. Mother can always give X small a. So this condition is not possible. So this condition can be there. X capital A, X small a. As mother will surely give small a, so small a must be there. Here also X capital A, X small a. Okay, so this was an example of X-linked dominant pedigree. Am I clear? Thank you.